way of life for those who did not want to go to college. College is a great option for those who know what they want to do with their life. But what about those who don't? Trades offer hands-on learning and person-to-person education. Not only the education of the trade, but the trade itself is important. An overlooked aspect of trade is that for some college degrees to work, they actually need trades. Money is another reason why college has taken over as the main post-secondary route. A majority of society today talks about how much money they make and what their net worth is. But as we are doing this, we are putting down our fellow workers all because they make less, and going against what Romans 12:16 states. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be haughty, but associate with the lowly. Never be wise in your own sight. We are supposed to live in harmony, not separately, based on the way we choose to make income. Picture this. A chemical engineer is sitting at a desk in a refinery, and he is looking over data on a laptop. All of a sudden, he looks over and he sees a tank that has a massive leak of LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, that is vaporizing as it makes contact with the air. He quickly runs down and shuts the valves and starts to pump water into the tank. As he is doing so, he calls a trade-educated boilermaker who makes, fixes, and installs tanks. He asks the boilermaker if he can come to the refinery to look at the tank. A few hours later, the boilermaker arrives at the refinery and starts to inspect the tank. He tells the engineer that he cannot permanently patch the tank because if he does, the tank will not last long because of where the leak has happened. So they need a whole new tank. The boilermaker orders a new tank for the refinery. A few years go by, and the tank finally arrives at the refinery. The boilermaker comes back and installs everything that is needed, the piping, the valves, and the ducts. Once everything is set up, the boilermaker signals the engineer to start routing the LPG back into the tank. Everything works, and the new tank has no leaks. The point of this story is to show that neither a college degree nor a trade is better than the other. It is to show that they actually need each other when either one is in need. The one way to win paradigm is the belief that the only hope for future economic security in today's youth is to earn at least a 4-year college degree, because it will lead to a good paying job in the professions. Kenneth Gray and Edwin Herr, co-authors of Other Ways to Win, and technical colleges themselves, experts on this topic, address this issue pertaining to high school graduates. For decades, the one way to win myth has been implied and pushed onto the youth, even though it does not apply for everyone. Imagine you are a senior in high school. You're only a few weeks away from graduating. You don't know what you want to do with your life, so you sit down and start doing some research, and you notice something that is repetitive and steadily emphasized. College is the only way to win. You read these words and you soon realize that people have been pushing this idea onto you your whole life and you never knew it. Because of that, you start doing more research on other post-secondary options, and one in particular catches your eye: trade school. You notice that trades have been termed the outdated form of post-secondary education for decades upon decades. Because of that, you start doing more and more research on trades themselves, and you come across something that is unbeknownst to most people. Trades actually offer more benefits than college. If trades were widely known, we would be able to maintain the status quo because there would be abundance of tradesmen. If this were true, it would not take hours or maybe even days for a blue-collar worker to help you with whatever you need. The idea that trades cannot make you successful in life can easily be proven wrong. When you call an HVAC technician, electrician, plumber, or any other blue-collar worker, you may hear that they cannot make it for hours or maybe even days. You know why? They are already working long hours and making enough income to successfully support their families. Society today may say that trades are outdated or unsuccessful, but the truth is, we just think that it's best to sit behind a desk all day, when we are just uninformed of other work options out there that do not require a college degree. According to Intercoast, if you are looking for job-specific skills, trade school is no doubt the better route, particularly when you factor in the cost of your education. However, if you're interested in research or the general pursuit of knowledge, you may thrive in a traditional college setting. This happens to be one of the main topics of discussion when someone graduates high school. The price of post-secondary education can vary tremendously. For college can be quite expensive or more affordable with the help of financial aid. On the other hand, trade school is more affordable with or without financial aid. According to House Call Pro, the return on investment between college and trade is quite different. For college, the return on investment is 15 times, while for trade, the return on investment is 22 times. The average cost of a 4-year public in-state university is $87,800, while a private 2-year nonprofit trade school is $31,580. These numbers may not interest you, but there are some in society today that cannot financially afford an $87,800 cost to have their child go to a university. The average cost for a 4-year private in-state university is $199,480. Note, this is just the average cost. The price will vary depending on what school the student chooses, what college major they're going for, and if they have financial aid that can help. A second issue is that college majors are thought of as to be more important and more needed than a trade school diploma. And the truth is, this is not true. Trades are needed quite regularly in a day-to-day life. According to GetNux, with the world becoming more dependent on service-oriented careers, the demand for skills learned at trade schools is undeniably growing. This statistic should be read clearly. The demand for skills learned at trade schools is undeniably growing. In 2020, the most lucrative trade jobs were construction managers, rotary drill operators, boilermakers, avionics technicians, and aircraft mechanics. And the most lucrative college majors were computer science, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, chemical engineering, and industrial engineering. Those college majors need the help of apprenticeships to even work properly and effectively. If everyone today only got a college major, then how then will modes of transportation, valuable sources of oil and gas, maintaining structure in a work environment, and many other important items be maintained? College majors can simply not operate everything in the world without the help of apprenticeships. So is it logical then to only tell students that the only way to be successful in life is to go to college? Or should we actually tell them of other options that do not require a college degree? One of the main causes of this issue is parents, peers, and teachers only telling their students that the only way to be successful in life is to go to college. If this is true, then why then are people who graduated from trade schools thriving as equally as people who have graduated from college? Some might say, well, we know what is best for our child, and that is going to college. College is the only option for them to be successful. What is wrong with college as the option? Okay, but have you researched every option of post-secondary education? There is absolutely nothing wrong with college. It's just the idea that it is the only option. If we were aware of other post-secondary education options, college would not be seen as the only option, and trades would be seen as a necessity rather than an outdated form of post-secondary education. Next is the amount of money and a salary that they'll be getting from their college major. Yes, some college majors can land you a 6-figure salary, but the truth is, some trades can get you a 6-figure salary as well. For example, according to Indeed, 3 of the top highest paying trade jobs in 2023 were ultrasonographer at around $141,000, radiation therapist at around $121,000, and respiratory therapist at around $98,000. And according to Forbes, 3 of the top highest paying college majors in 2023 were petroleum engineering at $85,000, computer engineering at $80,000, and software engineering at $80,000. The amount of time between the two is another major difference. For college, you were looking at 2 years minimum and 8 years maximum. On the other hand, for trade, you were looking at 1 year minimum and 2 years maximum. You can either wait 8 years to enter the workforce or only have to wait 2 years and be ahead of those who have to wait 8 years. The pro of joining the workforce sooner is that you will not have an abundance of debt, and whatever debt you do have, you can pay off quicker and in a less amount of time. The con of waiting is that you'll have an abundance of debt and it will take longer to pay off that debt. All in all, college should not be the only option that is so overly emphasized on the youth. College should not be the only option that is so overly emphasized on the youth. They should be able to choose what they want to do because it is their life to live. The one way to win myth is illogical and needs to be ended before we put any more stress on anyone else. Imagine that high school senior who is only a few weeks away from graduating. If he decides to attend college, then he'll enter one of the categories of people that are possibly paying off their large amount of student debt. On the other hand, if he decides to attend trade, he will still have debt, but according to Chrisman, apprenticeships offer participants employment and a paycheck while receiving specialized training and taking college courses. The Motley Fool makes the following astounding claim. Total student loan debt was $1.78 trillion in the first quarter of 2023 per the Federal Reserve. This includes both federal and private student loans. Federal student loan debt makes up 90% of all student loan debt. The average monthly student loan payment is $337, based on data the Federal Reserve collected in 2022. Most Americans make payments between $100 and $400. 14% make payments between $500 and $999, and 5% are saddled with a monthly payment of more than $1,000. Total student loan debt stands at $1.635 trillion in 2023 per the Department of Education. These statistics are outrageous. The amount of money that students are borrowing to go to college and maybe get a degree that they're going to use in their life is putting America in more debt than is necessary. Not only that, this shows how much of the money that you'll be making you'll have to pay back for borrowing the money to go to school. So why keep adding to it? As listed, it is clearly noticeable that trades are a good route for high school graduates, if it shall be based on income. According to research, about 51% of students drop out because they cannot pay for college. Moreover, 55% of students struggle to financially support their education, which leads to 79% of them delaying their graduation. $3.8 billion is consequently lost each year. In the next 10 years, taxpayers are expected to absorb $31 billion in losses due to more and more students defaulting on their loans. In conclusion, college has always been seen as the main option for someone who just graduated high school, when this should not be the case. We all have learning differences. Some are better than others at being book smart. On the other hand, some are better at learning by physically doing something with their hands. The truth is, it's about the person, what they are good at, what they strive for, and what they strive for. Thank you. Now open the floor for questions. Ms. Channing.
One of the beautiful things about being on faculty here for 5 years now is, as Mr. Davis commented to Alexa, we've seen so many of you grow so much. And as your teacher who had you in the 8th grade, where I seriously don't think I ever heard your voice, I never heard anything. You just stood before a room full of people and took command of a subject that had a lot of data, a lot of statistics, and I commend you on a job excellently done. I'm very proud of you. A lot of people, senior thesis, they have a million topics that they're juggling in their mind. You have known since you were in the 10th grade what you wanted to do because you bugged me about it every single day. Why did you want to do this topic? Why was it so important to you? And it's impressive that you stuck with it.
Yes. So it was important to me because pretty much for my whole life I grew up in trades. So my biological dad was a lineman for SWEPCO, and now he's a contractor. My dad is a hazmat. He works at E3. My grandpa worked at SWEPCO as well, at the actual plant, and I've just seen them be successful in life, and they didn't go to college and go for 4 years and rack up debt. They have been successful for years upon years. And then it's just the idea of like seeing all of social media and everything, saying that college is just the best way to be and like to be successful. They're like, I've seen videos of people that have, like this one guy I found, he is doing like this movement for tradesmen. Every time he sees a tradesman in boots, he buys something for them because they're so underappreciated. So I just feel like they need to be more appreciative, or like the world needs to be more appreciative of them because they build everything that we know. Like they built this building, they built chairs that we're sitting on, they built this, they built everything in the world, pretty much.
Well, I feel very certain your family will see that success continue through you. Again, wonderful job.
Great job, Hunter. Two questions. One, what do you plan on doing after high school?
I'm hoping to go to trade school and learn auto mechanic, to be an auto mechanic.
And if you were counseling, and you have several high school students in the room, if you were to counsel them, like how to think about these things, what do you think are some things you'd say to them in terms of how they should think about their own futures?
Like I said in my paper, it's really just based on the person, what they're interested in, what they are actually good at. It just depends on that. And like, I know some of my fellow students, they don't know what they want to do. They have options, but they don't actually know. And I know another one is looking to be at trade as well. Alex. Sorry to call you out, but Alex. But like we're interested in the same thing, which is auto and stuff like that. So like we know what we want to do and we're striving for that. And then everyone else is like, yeah, they want to go to tech, they want to do designs, they want to do like biblical stuff. It just depends on what they want to do. Biblical pursuits. They just already know what they want to do, and that's pretty much, yeah. That's what I would say.
Really good job, Hunter. So, what do you think about this idea? What about for the person who really doesn't know? One of the things you said is trade school is lower investment and shorter time. Sometimes I think college is described as this like go figure it out time. What would you say about trade school being a go figure it out time? Do you think there's any room for that? Go get going and see what happens.
In my research, I did come across an article about trade school and how it was incorporated into like the schooling systems, and like we had electives on actual trade focused stuff, but they have faded out of the education like necessity. And I feel like that should be put back in because like some people, like I said, are better at being book smart, some are better at doing stuff physically. I'm one of the physical persons. I learn better when I physically do something. Like, and I know I'm not the only one that way. And I feel like schools need to reincorporate the fact that like they need to do more electives that are based on trades, like where they actually do stuff physically, than these just electives that we have now. Like I would take a trade school elective over PE because I feel like trade school would be better than doing fun activities in PE because one will lead me to success in life and the other one won't. So
I appreciate that.
So I really enjoyed that. Do you think, because I know with my husband being in the Air Force,
mhm.
in the reserves, and of course there's active duty, would you, or Alex, I guess, at that point in time, be interested, because my husband, aircraft mechanic, you know, like that's something too, but you're like, you go to basic, obviously, everybody does. But after that, you are hands-on training at a technical school, you're getting paid, you get a good salary, because what people don't understand is like you can make really good money in the Air Force, other military branches, and get hands-on training too. Do you think that's a good option over trade school, or do you think trade school is better? That's kind of just in your opinion, because you did all the
Yeah.
research, right?
So I mainly focused on trade school, but military is another post-secondary route that came up. But I just focused on trade because it was just what I grew up in and like what I well known. So I wouldn't doubt that going in the military and being an aircraft mechanic is not a successful career. Like clearly he's being successful. So my whole thesis was to not uh, talk down on trade, or not trade, talk down on college, but just to show that trade is actually equal as college majors and should be seen as that way, than the underdog and like the outdated.
Absolutely, and I applaud you on your open-mindedness to that.
Thank you. Have a question, Mr. Hayes?
Beginning of your paper, you mentioned that exception is the college majors do you have any data or statistics on the average salary of starting a trade?
I've seen so in some trades it's like hierarchy and like where you are like senior and all that. So I know because I've done some research on. So the school I want to go to is they are partnered with the car manufacturers, and I've looked up every single technician salary for those manufacturers, and some start off in the lower because that's going to happen, but it's like 60 roughly. But like a senior mechanic and stuff like that is pretty much almost a six figure, or even a six figure. So.
You looked at what starting out of college is for 4 years.
Pretty sure. I think I've seen it, but I don't remember the number, like, correctly. I don't want to assume a number.
I was just curious to compare that, and then so my obvious follow-up question is, everyone in your class except Alex will probably be asking you to take them to lunch in 3 years. So in college and you're working, so are you ready for that eventuality?
Well, I would do it, to be honest. Well, because I love everyone in my class, so it's like I would actually do it for them. But I'm planning on doing two schools. I'm planning on going to one, the main one, and then going to Hennessy Performance in Texas as well, and that's another roughly 2 years. So I'm people who are going for 4 years, I'd be out at the same time. But if they did show up when I was done, I would definitely buy them something. Oh gosh.
Sorry. Question. Going to Hennessy, right? So if you go through that program, you're successful, and Hennessy hires you to be a technician at their facility there in Dayton, Texas, how much an hour would you make? I know this. I didn't believe it, and I had to look it up.
Well, that one's false. That was fake. But it's six figure. Like if you get into the senior technician position where you work on their exclusive vehicles that they make, that's like 110,000. So.
What was? Oh, never mind. So.
But hourly was probably, I think it was around 30 something, 40 something. Yeah, starting. But again, like I said, the hierarchy stuff, you get bonuses and you get like pay raise and all that. So starting out, it would be that probably around there.
Intellectual capability and intellectual achievement, right? And there was pressure to go to really good college and get major books very often. But I guess I'm wondering if you feel, having gone through class education, there's been any like gaps in representation for these types of jobs, or in the way that you've been exposed to these types of jobs, or even if you feel like you're uniquely prepared for this type of job, or
Yeah. So I would say that, not the dog on the school, but I would say we probably should have some type of trade elective at least, because like I said, and I'm not the only one that is better at learning by physically doing something. I believe that, yeah, we should probably have at least one trade elective or trade based elective. Like, even if it's carpentry, it's still something you're doing with your hands. And like, you can be successful in that later in life. You can go uh, start your own carpentry business. Because that's another thing about trade is that most trades, like apprenticeships, like you're under apprentice, you leave under the person, and it's a higher rate that you'll start your own business yourself on in your trade. So like that's what I would say is that I believe the school or schools in general should have more trade focused electives.
I really appreciate what you're saying. So I read something recently. The man who works with his mind should Sabbath with his hands, and the man who works with his hands should Sabbath with his mind. That was really convicting to me. Like, yeah, what are we doing with our spare time? I guess my question for you, Hunter, is 5 years from now, what do you want to carry with you from PCA in your life as an auto mechanic? What do you still want to be doing then that PCA has formed you?
Gospel. I'd be focused in like the word and like everything that I've learned in theology classes. I would keep on my mind because that's the sole purpose of why I'm here is God. But that would be the main thing. And like the NHS, all the four scholarship or like the scholarship, service, leadership, character, all of those have been important in my life too at this school. That's why I help the school with everything pretty much. Like, I'm willing to help because I love the school so much, and that's what I would take.
Thank you.
Man, I love the answer, man. Just to say gospel, react to it, and it's what we want from all our students. So it seems like one of the things I've thought about Providence is we're providing a liberal arts education. So you're getting a broad-based education. You have a skill set that you just demonstrated that you probably wouldn't pick up at trade school: speaking, writing a paper. In some ways, college is trying to replicate what we've already been doing for most of our students. But I have thought about, okay, what about more hands-on things? For when it's hard to find a carpenter to teach a class because we can't pay what trade
Yeah.
pays. What are some other things beyond woodworking that you thought about? Hey, this wouldn't be too hard for a school at Providence to do. I'd like to see it happen just to give people introduction to trades.
Yeah. So my history class, Mr. Trade. Wow, Mr. Clay was talking about this. Is about doing like an auto type thing during the summer and like figuring out how to do everything with cars. Like, he would like give students to come up here, and then he would talk us through like what we would be doing with the car, like how to change oil, how to change a tire, how to read the lights and everything, and like what each light stands for. I believe like it doesn't even have to be during the school year, but stuff like that, summer classes, or like teachers that are willing to teach something beyond what they teach during school year, that would benefit.
Or maybe when you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Good question. So we actually owned our own business at one point. It was a construction business. My grandpa ran it. He was a tradesman, but he also, I probably shouldn't say this, but he dropped out of high school, and he never got a business degree. But he successfully built houses for people. Like, he built the one that's on Swan Lake across from Legacy. He helped build that one. He built our house and many more around here in Texas where he lived at the time. So it probably would be beneficial, but I wouldn't say it would be a necessity. Like the business class that we had last year with Mr. Clay helped a lot, and that's what drove my interest more and more in like owning my own, going to trade, and hopefully owning my own business one day. Is what he taught us with everything, like the return on investments and everything. That's why I put the return on investment in my paper before I actually took the business class, and never really fully understood what it meant. And then when we took the business class, it helped me further understand the knowledge of what's in my paper even more, and it's making me want to strive through that. But I would say it's not a necessity. It would probably be important, but not a necessity.
Okay, Hunter, I'll say this. So you and I've talked a lot over the years, or over this year, and you know, I agree with so much of what you say because I'm married to a fireman who then builds houses. Neither required a college degree. He didn't go to college at all. I appreciate you bringing so much of this to light. You did an excellent job.
Yes. Thank you.
Again, another